Imagine that you are the leader of an organisation and you are sitting in a workshop with your direct reports. There is a folder in front of you containing 360-degree leadership feedback that will reveal the impact you are having on them. This is represented visually in a model containing 3 colours, blue, red and green. What you hope to see is a sea of blue, but when you open the folder, you question whether the printer actually ran out of blue ink. It's all red and green. You've got 10 minutes on your own to digest this information before the question will be asked, who would like to share their data with the team? This is a rhetorical question because the answer is you. This is every leader's nightmare and one that became a reality for one of the leaders I've worked with. In spite of the horror story staring him in the face though, he followed through on his commitment to openly share it with the team and ask for them to hold him accountable to change, the very same people who provided the brutal feedback. This act of extreme humility was perceived as highly courageous. It became infectious as each team member decided to reveal their feedback and make a similar commitment to change. In that moment, a snowball of accountability began to roll. Each of the leaders in my original research faced a similar moment of truth, and their openness and humility had several consequences. Firstly, they created a safe and open environment that meant they and their teams accepted their data very quickly. Secondly, they received the benefit of the doubt whenever they strayed back into bad habits because their teams now trusted their intent. Thirdly, they enlisted their team members as supportive coaches. And finally, and most importantly, there was now an implicit expectation that all team members would equally commit to change. What leaders find is that in giving up their positional power, they unwittingly acquire an even stronger power with which to lead their organisation. And that power is commitment to shared standards for their leadership. In contrast to a traditional hierarchy, leaders create a snowball of mutual accountability, with the leaders at the centre and their team members compacted around them. The snowball picks up momentum when the next layer of leaders is added to this cycle of accountability. The direct reports of the leader now find themselves sandwiched between their leader and their own direct reports. And the momentum of the snowball increases even further when accountability to shared leadership standards is embedded in the organisation's systems and structures. In several cases, this momentum is threatened by friction in the form of team members who do not commit to the leadership journey. This creates drag on the snowball and is particularly challenging when the friction comes from a team member that is really hitting the numbers. Each of the leaders in my study made difficult decisions to exit team members who failed to commit, and the results were surprising. Far from creating financial instability, each leader found that their snowball actually picked up pace when they shed the flakes that were creating friction. The message that shared leadership standards were now as important as financial performance proved a very powerful one. Some of the leaders not only faced friction, but also major obstructions that threatened to smash the snowball to pieces. One leader hit an obstruction when the company was acquired and they were forced into early retirement. Another was confronted by an international parent company who threatened to stop the leadership agenda altogether. Surprisingly though, in both instances, there was enough momentum for the snowballs to crash through the obstructions with the leadership agenda intact. All of this leads me to the understanding that accountability is dependent upon leader humility, while momentum is dependent upon getting a critical mass of leaders on the journey, exiting those who are not committed, and embedding the shared leadership standards in the organisation's systems and structures. At this point, the snowball is almost impossible to stop.